You know what you're listening to?
Next question.
It's Dan Patrick on Demand. Thank you.
Here he is, joined by the Danettes. It's Dan Patrick.
Ah, well done, Bob. Well done. Welcome to the program. Gang's almost all here. Fritzy's still on the mend, but Seaton, Paulie, and McLevin, and yours truly, the Dan Patrick Show. If you'd like to be involved, you can in a variety of ways. Our Twitter handle at DP Show, phone number 8773DP Show. And our email address is dp@danpatrick.com. Say good morning to our radio and TV partners. An eclectic guest list today. We're going to talk to the Texas head coach, Tom Herman. Dwayne Wade from the Chicago Bulls will stop by. Reggie Aloysius Miller III. And Justin Tucker, the Baltimore Ravens kicker, Pro Bowl kicker. Perhaps the best kicker in the game right now. And he's got an interesting idea of how to spice up kickoffs. He'll join us in 15 minutes from now to explain. Packers handled the Eagles last night. Pretty amazing. We spent half of the season wondering what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers. In typical Rodgers fashion, he is having an impressive season, believe it or not. That's what I think is lost with all of this discourse on Aaron Rodgers. You know, he doesn't talk to his parents. Must be that he's chosen his girlfriend over his parents. He doesn't like his coach. They don't get along. There's friction. If you look at the stats, he's pretty good. And if you watched last night, that was vintage Aaron Rodgers. He's got 27 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. In any other year, let's say Green Bay has 3 losses right now. That's MVP-like numbers. But nobody is talking about Aaron Rodgers being a most valuable player. Part of being a star quarterback is you get way too much credit and way too much blame. Their defense isn't any good. And it's a question of can they score enough points to win a game. And that's what he's going to have to do the rest of the season. The win kept Green Bay within 2 games of the division-leading Detroit Lions, but the Packers are running out of time. But I can't put all the blame on Aaron Rodgers, although we've tried to. Now, I do wonder the off-the-field stuff. I did wonder about what he was really saying about Mike McCarthy. And if you listened to John Gruden last night, you know, John Gruden was saying the same thing, that there's something in there. Others have said the same thing, that there feels like there's something else in there. And maybe there is. You know, Chris Collinsworth has talked about this. You can read between the lines. If you're a former player, former coach, current player, there's something that's being said there about the sidelines. And maybe it comes from the head coach. But Aaron Rodgers last night, that was vintage Aaron Rodgers. That was great. But he's been vintage Aaron Rodgers. We just haven't noticed because that's not a good story. The story is, the drama. What's going on? Is this the end? Is he going to end like Brett Favre and play on a couple other teams? Family issues. Aaron Rodgers last night, that was textbook quarterbacking. And I don't know if there's another quarterback who can play like that last night. His ability to scramble, extend plays, some of those throws were spectacular. But I don't know if that's what people will want to talk about. They'd rather talk about the drama and the negativity here. But Green Bay's still alive. But if I said you could have Green Bay or Detroit right now to make the play, to win this division, I'm going to give you, if you want Minnesota, I'll give you Minnesota. But if I said right now, there's probably a lot of you that say, you know what, I'll take Green Bay here. You're not sold on Detroit. But Detroit, 7-4 right now. But Green Bay, at least alive. All right, so the Packers are 5-6. Let's see. I watched Knicks in Oklahoma City because, as you know, I love me some Russell Westbrook. And he almost had a triple-double at halftime. I don't know if it's a good thing that he's averaging a triple-double. I don't know what it says about the rest of his team, but they have a winning record. Can you be the MVP on a team that has a winning record, but is not the best team in the league? If he averages a triple-double, I'll ask Dwayne Wade this, and Reggie Miller. If he averages a triple-double, can anybody be more valuable to their team than Russell Westbrook? I don't know if that's possible. But he's averaging 10 rebounds. Like just last night, he's not a great shooter. He's a great scorer, not a great shooter, and don't confuse the two. But he is dynamic, man. He is. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to guard him. he would be one of those guys that I do think would be a professional in soccer, in football, certainly in basketball. I don't know if he can hit a curveball, but he is that much of an athlete. And watching him last night, and Derrick Rose is still fun to watch. And that's great to see because we know what he used to be, and that's an MVP. And the Knicks are still fun. The problem is they don't move the ball. It gets to Carmelo and it stops. And that's going to continue because Melo's so used to it getting to him, and it doesn't go anyplace else. But Derrick Rose, freestyling, is a lot of fun. Porzingis, watching him, still a lot of fun. Enes Kanter last night, I mean, that dude puts up points. So I watched a good bundle of that. And you know I love me some Darren Sproles. So he's one of those guys that I would pay to see. I think that much of Darren Sproles. And we were talking about Darren Sproles because remember when Devin Hester we thought was retiring? And we were debating if he's a Hall of Famer, and we talked to Peter King about that, who's a voter. And then we started to look at Darren Sproles' numbers last night. And Darren Sproles, with his career, man, he's going to be a borderline Hall of Famer. Maybe he is a Hall of Famer. Maybe we have to get outside of the box when we look at just, he's a great football player. But I think people are going to nitpick and say, well, was he great at one single thing? He's been very good at catching, running, returning kicks. Darren Sproles, if you look at the numbers here, I don't know if we have somebody who is similar to him to compare him to. He might be the guy we compare others to. But Darren Sproles, damn, is he fun. So I had a great night last night. I got to watch Russell Westbrook. I got to watch Darren Sproles. It was some good stuff last night. Jim Harbaugh, not surprisingly, has been fined by the Big Ten. You got Syracuse and Wisconsin, Michigan State and Duke in college hoops coming up tonight. So that's sort of where we are right now. McLovin, old question or two or three?
Well, we have what everyone in America is talking about. Whose career would you rather have? Darren Sproles or Devin Hester, of course.
I'd rather have Darren Sproles.
Yeah, I'm going to choose Hester, and I love both.
Okay, all right. We'll examine the numbers here. All right. What else do you have?
Okay, would you rather be a Pro Bowl punter or kicker or a 10-year backup quarterback who occasionally sees some action?
I'd rather be a kicker.
Ooh. Really?
Yeah. It's a backup quarterback?
You're going to get some run. You get a dozen starts in your career, a nice Colt McCoy career.
Probably going to make way more money as a backup quarterback, too, right?
Yeah. I'd rather be in the game.
Backup quarterback has a lot of perks. We're all the Danettes love that job.
Well, is it about perks or is it about your career?
Kind of which would be a more fun job to have.
Oh yeah, backup quarterback. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on these kickers. But Justin Tucker makes it look. Has he missed a kick this year?
Oh no!
Oh my God, he had 3 kicks of over 50 yards in the first half against the Bengals. That's never happened before. Yeah, Paulie.
So far this season, Justin Tucker is 7 for 7, 50 yards and further.
Dang. Now, what else do we have?
Okay, that leads to the next poll option.
Okay.
Are kickers too influential right now in the NFL?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. The NFL did this by making the extra point interesting, more interesting. They've done that. Now, they've taken away a little bit of the luster of the kickoff, but nobody cares about who's the kickoff guy. But we do care about the extra point, how important the extra point is, even field goals. Field goals got too easy. Remember that? It was too easy. Well, we got to do something. Maybe we narrow the goalpost. Remember that? Now, all you did is move it back 15 yards for an extra point, and these guys are freaking out. And I do think there's spillover with your confidence level. When you miss an extra point, which is supposed to be simple, it's like missing a free throw, that now it affects you when you kick a field goal. I really think it's affected these guys. And look, we're all basket cases anyways, head cases, so especially kickers. What else do you have?
I have a Russell Westbrook question. Sort of, you already stated it, but I'm going to save it.
Oh, okay. Now, do you have all the information on that question?
We're still mushing it
still
together.
Marinating.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll look at Darren Sproles, Hall of Famer. Justin Tucker will join us with his ingenious new idea for kickoffs. Dwayne Wade will join us. Tom Herman. There's going to be an awkward moment in this interview with Tom Herman. I'm just saying. There's going to be. Because he was put in a position after the Memphis game, asked if he had, any other jobs, was he leaving? And we'll play the sound for you because he used the word honesty. Tough position. And he could have answered it a whole lot better than he did, but he's just the latest coach to do it. But he's now headed to Texas, and Reggie Miller will join us as well. So we're just getting started here. Justin Tucker with his ingenious idea coming up. We'll get to your phone calls as well. It's coming up on 17 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Up until now, we always purchased insulation to insulate. It would help keep our warm spaces warm and our cool spaces cool. But now, Owens Corning has changed all of that with Pure Safety high-performance insulation. Pure Safety not only insulates, but also contributes to a healthier, safer, and more comfortable environment for your family. First, it's a high-performance, all-purpose insulation. It efficiently fills cavities in your home with a layer of thermal protection. Next, Pure Safety insulation contributes to better indoor air. It stays put in the walls and floors and produces 50% less dust than some other insulation products. And that means better air for you and your family to breathe in. Pure Safety insulation is fire resistant. In the case of a fire, you'll have valuable extra minutes to escape to safety, minutes that can make all the difference. And finally, Pure Safety insulation reduces noise up to 50%. It helps keep outside noise out and reduces inside noise from traveling from room to room inside. Pure Safety high-performance insulation from Owens Corning, a single product that will help improve your family's health, safety, and comfort. Learn more at puresafetyinsulation.com. That's puresafetyinsulation.com. Pure Safety Insulation, the greatest home improvement you'll never see.
We'll compare the stats. In fact, we have Whose Stats Would You Want coming up. Darren Sproles, Devin Hester.
Get back, bro.
I think Darren Sproles is close to being a Hall of Famer. I think he's in his own special category. He's like the Swiss Army knife there. Man, is he fun to watch. All right, we'll get a poll question here coming up. Dwayne Wade from the Bulls will join us. Tom Herman, Texas head coach, and Reggie Miller will join us as well. I was doing the highlights on Football Night in America, and we showed one of the kicks by Justin Tucker of the Ravens. So he kicked 3 50-plus yard field goals in the first half against the Bengals. That had never happened before. And then I looked to see if he had missed a kick this year, and he hasn't. And then I saw some dialogue with John Harbaugh talking to the reporters about Justin and John coming up with an idea how we spruce up kickoffs here. Because usually, we know it's going to go into the end zone, so nobody's watching the kickoff, or we care less about it. So we reached out to the Ravens, and they found Justin Tucker for us so he could join us on short notice. Justin, first of all, congratulations on the season so far. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, give us the ingenious idea that only you could come up with on how we spice up the kickoff.
Well, I think the idea is a collaborative effort, and I think anybody that's got a kickoff guy or a kicker with a strong leg would be in favor of it. It would, the idea would be that if you split the uprights on a kickoff, you get a point, or you get rewarded for it in some way. I mean, I've heard the version I like is you split the uprights, you get a point. I've also heard, you split the uprights, and instead of the opposing team starting at the 25, maybe they start at the 10, just to make the game a little bit more interesting. I mean, we're everybody's sick and tired of offenses just like running up the score. They want to see defense. At least in Baltimore, I think they do.
Well, they're not seeing a whole lot of offense other than your right foot in Baltimore.
Well, I don't know about all that. I think we're on the right track. We're all on the right track.
Okay, how often could you split the uprights on a kickoff? What would your percentage be?
I mean, it would be hard to say, a specific number, but I mean, shoot, if I had to throw one out there, maybe like, 1 out of every 5 if the weather's all right and the field's good. But again, that's kind of considering all factors, wind and field, etc.
Would you be in favor of a 4-point field goal from 60 yards or more?
No, I don't think so, because then you fundamentally change the game. I mean, a team would, they could conceivably stop a drive at the plus 42-yard line just so they could get 4 points. I mean, people want to see the ball moving down the field. Myself included. I mean, when the ball is closer, it's easier to make. And, this isn't basketball. I mean, we don't need to, at a 4-point line. I think that fundamentally changes the game, and I don't think we need to do that.
Have kickers become too influential?
I don't think so at all. I think as the game evolves, there's to kind of touch on a broader point. A lot of people have this idea, this stigma about kickers, that kickers aren't real football players. But I dare to say that if you looked at pretty much every team in football right now, and you looked at their score, their box score for each and every one of their games, and you added it all up, their kicker is probably their leading scorer. And in a game where points win, you want a guy scoring points. So I think as the game evolves, you'll see, especially with the PAT rule change coming into last season, you'll definitely see the kicker being a more integral part of the game. And moving forward, I hope that's something that continues. I think it's a really cool opportunity for specialists.
He's Justin Tucker, the Ravens. He's 27 of 27 this season. Are you superstitious?
I'm not really superstitious, but I do a couple of things, in pregame that, it's more of a routine type thing. But as far as, I kind of figure the next point would be asking about jinxes. I've been asked that for the last 4 weeks now, and I don't believe in that. What I believe in is working hard and paying attention to detail, trusting that Morgan Cox and Sam Cook are going to continue to do an excellent job for me, and as long as we do those things, we'll put points on the board and hopefully turn those points into wins. What
do you think when coaches try to freeze a kicker?
I don't really think anything of it. I mean, I think it's a more effective tactic at lower levels of the game, high school, college, maybe even, you have a young kicker coming in to the NFL, and it's their first or second game-winning field goal attempt, and that sort of thing. I think professional football players are mature enough to manage those situations and navigate them. And being able to perform.
Do kickers have posters of other kickers on their walls growing up, like fatheads or something?
Sure. I mean, one of my favorite players to this day is, some of my favorite football players, not just kickers, but my favorite football players are Adam Vinatieri, Bill Dawson, Matt Stover, and then, if I had to pick a position player, I'd probably say Earl Campbell, Ed Reed. Those are some of my favorite football players. Just from my perspective, seeing a guy like Adam Vinatieri, who's done so well, continues to do well for such a long time, it's really inspiring. And then to be able to come through in the clutch as big time as he has in his career, that's definitely something that, if you're a young athlete, I think anybody can admire that.
Who's the last kicker you'd want to get into the octagon with?
Into the octagon?
Yeah.
Well, after doing his notorious Conor McGregor strut after landing a punt inside the 10, it might have to be Pat McAfee. I mean, the guy's a beast. What can I say? But if I was going to really be serious here, I'd probably have to say my own teammate, Sam Cook. He is an underrated, sneaky athlete, strong as an ox. I would not want to have to get in the octagon with him.
I have my crew here, my Danettes, and one of my guys did some actual research on you before you came on. His name is McLovin, and McLovin had a question for you that I would have to turn in my man card to ask you this question, but McLovin has no problem doing this. McLovin, your question for Justin Tucker.
So there's some pictures on the internet where you and your buddies, who you call the Wolf Pack apparently, are sitting around watching a TV show, and it happens to be The Bachelorette, which I love, and everyone here makes fun of me. Are you a Bachelor? Are you part of Bachelor Nation?
I would have to say that I am in a small way. So the Wolf Pack, in fairness to Morgan and Sam would hate being lopped into like the Bachelorette watching crew. That was really more of an offensive thing. It was a Joe Flacco, Dennis Pitta, Dan Brown, Nick Boyle, Kyle Juszczyk type of thing that we had going on there, where we would,
Oh,
join
man.
forces during the off season.
You're indicting all of these guys, Justin. Man, you're naming names here.
I don't think it's an indictment. I mean, I think any confident man who watches The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, they can, I can say that I watch it just for the. This last season, I was Team Chad all the way, and I think anybody who was not Team Chad was wrong. And I think that's totally fair to say.
McLovin, were you Team Chad?
No, but Team Chad. Chad is from Texas. That's clearly a home state buy. Okay. Chad's that crazy guy. Justin,
no,
what
he's
are you doing?
He's from Oklahoma. He's from Oklahoma. He sells luxury real estate in Tulsa. Whatever that means.
My bad. Can I still come down and watch with you guys?
Absolutely.
God.
Just we'll exchange digits, and then we can make it happen. We'll set it up.
Congrats on the season so far, Justin. Thanks for joining us on short notice. We appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
That's Justin Tucker. I don't know. We'll let the idea marinate a little bit there. A point on the kickoff. All right, adds a little more intrigue to it, but then we add more importance to the kicker. Aren't we trying to take that away? Dwayne Wade will join us coming up. If Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double, would he give him the MVP? We'll talk to him next.
What's the best thing you've bought for $3.99? I bought CISO. CISO has a nearly endless supply of top-shelf comedy, literally months' worth of exclusive originals, face-melting stand-up, next day late night, and a great catalog of classics. We all have our own unique tastes. I, myself, love all of it. British late-night talk shows especially. With CISO, it's your comedy. Get your comedy the way you want it. CISO is the place for comedy. They won't tell you how amazing they are, but we will. CISO is amazing. It's comedy for comedy nerds by comedy nerds. You want the best new original comedy? You want CISO. CISO is spelled S-E-E-S-O. It's the new ad-free streaming service bringing you hilarious original series, hand-picked classics, weeks of stand-up specials, and more. Bingeable comedy anytime, anywhere, like Take My Wife and Harmon Quest to all 40-plus years of SNL. CISO, the only place that offers every episode ever made and the new episodes the day after they air. Just go to CISO, SEESO.com right now to sign up for 2 months free with promo code PODCAST1 at checkout. That's CISO.com, promo code PODCAST1.
My name is Anthony Ponce, and I used to be a reporter on NBC. But I got tired of being part of traditional news media, so I quit that job and became a Lyft driver. And now I interview whatever passengers end up in my back seat. So if you want to hear the best stories that real people tell me when we're driving around the city, check out my podcast. It's called Backseat Rider on podcast1.com, the Podcast One app, and iTunes.
We'll get your phone calls coming up. McLovin will have his poll question here. It's always nice to have a fellow great shooter on the program. It's Dwayne Wade from the Chicago Bulls who joins us this morning. Dwayne, how are you?
I'm doing good. I heard you doing well this morning.
That's just typical. Like, do you ever get bored making jumpers?
Never.
You don't? Oh.
No, it's a sweet feel and sound.
That sound of the net is awesome, though, right? When it goes in?
It is.
I mean, it's just like...
It is.
Is there a better sound than that in sports than the ball going through the net?
No, not at all. I mean, people have different interpretations of what it sounds like, but to me, it's like... it's just amazing.
And I always like when the net would get caught up on the rim, so then you just reinforce that you made it, you swished it. Hey, you guys get the net down. I'm going to go back down the other end.
Exactly.
Did you play football in high school?
I tried to play. I thought I was good, but I guess I wasn't.
Wait, I heard you were pretty good. Your high school was pretty good at football. I did some research.
Yeah.
And
my high school was very good.
What position did you play?
Well, I have big hands, and so I played wide receiver, and I played cornerback. But everyone told me, I thought I was like the next coming, but everyone told me that basketball was my sport, so I think I've eventually listened.
If you stayed with football, could you play college?
I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe a smaller school since I started late. I didn't play football until my 8th grade year, and it took me a little while, but I don't think we'd be on this call right now if I would have stayed with football. I don't think
LeBron, now I got to see LeBron play one game in high school in football.
Yeah, was he good?
Oh yeah, he was Randy Moss. Yeah, he could have played. Yeah, if LeBron wanted to, he could play in the NFL. Well,
I think,
do you think so?
I think a lot of basketball players, could be good at football. Now, it's not the talent part of it. It's the taking the hits part of it. It's the what their body go through part of it. It's it's those things that are challenging to say the least. I don't think it's a talent thing at all, and vice versa. I mean, a lot of football players are super talented and can play other sports as well.
Well, maybe you couldn't play in college, but you could probably play for the Bears right now, Dwayne.
My Bears are struggling. I always said, listen, just let me be a goal line receiver. The red zone, let me get in there, throw it to the corner, never to the middle, and let me go up and get it.
I think Russell Westbrook would be an unbelievable football player. I could put him.
I think you would be too.
Defensive back, wide receiver. He could probably play both ways if he wanted to.
Yeah, he's probably be one of those guys that will punt the ball, kick field goals, throw the ball for touchdowns, run it. You'd be one of those guys.
Okay.
Like Cordell Stewart type.
Oh, slash.
Yeah, be a slash.
Okay, if Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double this year, should he be the MVP? Can you be more valuable to your team if you average a triple-double?
Well, no, you cannot be. And the thing is, I think the MVP has changed over the years. From what they need to change the letters, because it's not always the most valuable player who wins it. Sometimes it's the best player on the best team, but you got a lot of guys who are very valuable to their team, and they got good teams. And without them, they would be one of the worst records in the league. And he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys that you take him off that team, and not saying that they have bad individual players, but he's the engine of that team. He does so much to give them confidence to even to be in games, to win them. So, right now he's playing MVP level, the most valuable player, but, you got other guys who are the best player on the best teams, and it's hard to argue that with the way that, it has shifted to being that.
Dwayne, by the way, joining us on behalf of Poker Stars. They've launched a new Raise It campaign with Cristiano Ronaldo. So you and Cristiano Ronaldo, huh?
Yeah, man. I have a good relationship with Ronaldo, and it's cool. We both able to do this campaign, and it's fun. It's just like a raise the stakes type of thing. Anything you can do, I can do better. So we both had fun filming our parts of it, and it's cool now that it's starting to come out.
Could he teach you how to flop?
Definitely.
Yeah, because
you know what? I need to learn the new era of flopping. I had the old one now. I need to learn the new era now.
But did Vlade Divac start all of this?
You know what? I can't say he started, but I mean, fresh in my mind, I remember him being very, very good at it, and one of the first ones that I remember, being amazing at flopping. And kind of what flopping did for him, it just brought attention to the referee's eyes, and it made them call things that they didn't even think that they didn't know what it was, but he just made it look like it was something, and they called it. They blew a whistle because it looked like something was happening.
And then Duke must have been watching, and then everybody at Duke learned how to flop. They mastered. I think you can take a class at Duke in flopping, Dwayne.
I don't know. I don't watch Duke that closely. I did watch Shane back in the day. And I don't know if Shane was a flopper. I know he took a lot of charges, but I don't know. I mean, flopping is a part of the world we live in sports, and basketball gets the bad title for flopping, but I see it. I mean, and there's some awful flops, by the way, and I just got on Shaq and the Fool recently. I didn't feel like I flopped, but when I looked at the video, I said, yeah, that looked like a flop. But in the moment, I thought I got hit, and I didn't know it was coming, but when I looked at the video, I said, oh, yeah, that's for sure Shaq and the Fool.
At what point did you, like the Michael Jordan phenomenon, when you're in Chicago growing up, at what point did you understand exactly who he was, and would you ever think in your wildest dreams you would play in the NBA?
Well, I mean, and I talk about this often, especially coming back to Chicago. I fell in love with the game of basketball at 9 years old, and it was watching, Jordan and the Bulls win their first championship. That's when I really fell in love with it. That's when I really knew that's what I wanted to do. I remember sitting on the floor, looking at the TV on the floor in our house and saying, that's what I want to be. That's the feeling I want. And I felt so much pride, being a Chicagoan when they won that championship. And I wanted that feeling. So, did I ever think it was a possibility? I didn't know. Where I came from, I didn't see too many people, making it out the way, that I envisioned. But, crazy things didn't happen in life. And I kept my dreams and my hopes alive. And, 14 years later, I've been living this dream.
I don't know if anybody else thought this, but when you and LeBron, Chris Paul, Melo, you're at the ESPYs, and when you guys started the ESPYs, and when you were done with that, I thought of Muhammad Ali and Muhammad Ali dying, and what kind of impact he may have had on younger athletes like yourself or Colin Kaepernick or LeBron. Is that too much of a stretch? Because I don't know if Muhammad Ali dying and you got to see what he was and who he was, what he stood for, had any impact on you whatsoever. So I throw that out. Did it?
Well, I think it's had impact on everyone, and it's sad sometimes it takes certain things to happen for people to be really appreciated for what they do or have done. And I think him passing did, if you notice, all athletes and a lot of people around the world was, putting out these messages about what he meant to them. And I think it just opened eyes again for us in that moment. It just felt like, we needed to use our voice. We felt we had the right platform coming up. And, we're these guys who are always out there, telling people, hey, I do this, support this, or buy this, or, and we all thought it was time to use our voice for a bigger cause and a greater good. And, it was great that we had the platform to do it. A lot of people have things they want to do and say they don't have the same platform as we have. So we were speaking for, thousands and millions of others probably that have the same thought.
Before I let you go, Thanksgiving dinner with Derrick Rose and Carmelo at Melo's crib. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what did you bring? What did you bring?
Well, for the easy thing to bring is alcohol. You can always bring alcohol. You can bring wine. You can bring vodka. So my wife made sure that we had, about 6 to 8 bottles of different kind of alcohol to bring over, and that's always an easy gift. But Melo and Lala, for the last 2 years, because we was in New York the year before for Thanksgiving, they allowed us to come, and they're like family to us, and it was great. So got a chance to be there with D Rose, and he had nowhere to go neither, so. They just opened the doors for people who don't have nowhere to go on Thanksgiving, and it was great. We had a great time and great conversations, but amazing food.
If you pass a dish to Carmelo, you don't get it back.
I haven't experienced it.
Just having a little fun, and the ball stops with Melo.
That's my guy. We talk a lot of stuff, so don't worry about it. That's my guy. That's one of my best friends.
Poker Stars and their Raise It campaign. It's hashtag Raise It, and you can see the Raise It videos with Dwayne Wade and Cristiano Ronaldo. Great to talk to you again, and congrats on the season so far. Thank you, Dwayne.
Dan, thank you as always, and keep making those baskets, man.
I will. Thank you. That's Dwayne Wade, one great shooter to another. All right, we'll take a break. Your phone call is coming up. Settle on a poll question and play of the day as well. And whose stats would you want? Was I being mean-spirited there, Seton?
It's hilarious. Well, holiday fun.
Yeah. If I pass the turkey to Melo, I'm not getting it back.
You're not getting those turnips back.
No. All right, we're back after this.
At Great Clips, we understand every minute counts. That's why Great Clips has online check-in. Save time every time. Save 4 minutes before your haircut. You can use your time machine. Where'd it go? Save 5. Take a quick shower.
Hot! Too hot!
Save 14 minutes. Call your mom. Let's call her back later. You get priceless minutes for free when you use Great Clips online check-in. Download the free app or visit greatclips.com. It's gonna be great. Oh, you're back! How was 1986?
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
Oh my God!
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
Rodgers pointing across to the defense, identifying the middle linebacker. Snap to Rodgers, backpedals. Lofts the left side of the end zone for Devontae Adams. Makes the catch backward of the end zone. Touchdown. A sensational throw and catch to beat Nolan Carroll.
Packers Radio Network, Aaron Rodgers is back. Some may say he never left us, considering the season he's had so far. Certainly in the last 5 weeks, he's played some pretty unbelievable football. I don't know if this means the Packers are back, but pretty impressive performance. By the way, remember the 3-0 start by the Philadelphia Eagles? Remember the Carson Wentz, everything, the Super Bowl, playoff? Remember that, McLovin?
I do.
What happened to that?
I think they became the team that everyone thought they were when they traded Sam Bradford. They're a rebuilding team.
Yeah, they're not a very good team.
Their receivers are terrible.
Yeah, they have maybe, well, they're up there, worst collection of wide receivers. But Carson Wentz is good. I mean, there's promise there. Yes, McLovin.
Yeah, that's my question. Are you down on Carson Wentz at all, or you think that was still a good pick?
No, it's a hard job. No matter how old you are, it's a hard job. And I think Carson Wentz has a lot of talent there. It's just going to take time. Play of the day brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. They do it for you. Every down of every game means something. Can't miss part of the season. Limited release beer, menu items, handcrafted burgers, Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer. Sports, please drink responsibly. All right, decide on the poll question here, McLovin. What are we going to go with?
I actually put up whose Hall of Fame resume do you like more? Or who should be in the Hall of Fame first, Devin Hester or Darren Sproles? But we might have to redo that because I think we're all in agreement Hester has a better angle because he was the best at what he did.
Okay, if you're the greatest, now, prior to Devin Hester, the greatest kick returner was not in the Hall of Fame. So you can't all of a sudden say Devin Hester is the greatest kick returner of all time, therefore he's a Hall of Famer. You have to decide if he's a Hall of Famer. Darren Sproles is not the best at what he does. Now, he's really good at 3 different things: running, catching, and returning. Whose career would you rather have, Devin Hester or Darren Sproles? Yes, Paul. Yes,
How about this angle? If you were a team and could draft one of them out of college, knowing what you know now, and have their entire career, they never leave your team, Darren Sproles or Devin Hester?
Darren Sproles. He helps me all the time.
A lot of people on the Twitter said, Devin Hester, you got the greatest kick returner of all time. But isn't Hester kind of like a home run hitter who hits 220? You get lost in
He's like, Dave Kingman. He's going to hit home runs, but he's not going to do other things. Now, they did have him as a wide receiver, and I know he had a return against the Bengals. He's still playing for the Ravens. But Sproles' numbers, he's got over 3,000 yards rushing, 20 touchdowns. He's got 4,500 receiving yards, 29 touchdowns.
512 catches.
Yes. His all-purpose yards are 18,800 with 58 touchdowns. Devin Hester has 14,000 with 36 touchdowns. Now, granted, Hester, when he has the ball, if I look at touches per touchdowns, Devin Hester is going to win that. But I think Sproles is amazing. And maybe it's because I love Darren Sproles. I don't know him. I asked Tony Dungy about him a couple of weeks ago. I said, what kind of guy is he? He goes, oh, my God. He's a coach's dream. You'd love him. You'd love him. That's why I'm surprised that he's been on a couple of teams. He'd be the guy, whatever it takes, I got to keep him. Yes, McLovin.
If he was 5'10" and producing like this, just a normal-looking guy, would we be as impressed? Is it partly the sort of unusual height?
I think that there is style with substance with him, and I do think the style, it catches your eye. But, it's how he does it that's pretty fascinating. I remember watching him at Kansas State. Didn't they beat Nebraska for they beat Nebraska for the Big 12 title, or in the Big 12 title game, and Nebraska still ended up playing for the national title, if that sounds right? Yeah, Paul.
If he did at Kansas State, if it was at USC, he would have won the Heisman. He was a Heisman contender.
Yeah.
His junior year at Kansas State, Darren Sproles had 2,000 rushing yards. 2,000. A casual 2.
All right, Tom Herman, Texas head coach, will join us coming up a little bit. Reggie Miller will stop by as well. Dwayne Wade was fun. He was. Had quite a career. It's still weird, though, with him with the Chicago Bulls. And he's closing in on, I got some stats here for you. He is 14 assists shy of joining a company of 13 guys. Players with 20,000 career points and 5,000 career assists. Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobayashi, Michael, LeBron, Oscar, John Havlicek, Kevin Garnett, Jerry West, Allen Iverson, Clyde Drexler, Gary Payton, and Larry Joe Bird. A pretty good company there. But he'll join that group with 14 more assists. Career salary for Dwayne Wade. Wow, I wasn't expecting that one.
Right there,
yes,
Danny.
I do.
It's time for
career salary, Dwayne Wade.
Quickly, Dan, 14 seasons in the NBA for Dwayne Wade, made $2.6 his first season with Miami Heat. Total career salary for Dwayne Wade.
How many years?
14 years. DWYANE.
Yes.
It's real good, but it's not like Kevin Garnett good.
Yeah. I was going to go, I'm going to go 2025.
A little low. This is sad. He's only $160 million.
How's he getting by?
Calling the shows like ours and pitching poker. Need some scratch.
Got to do these endorsements. Got to get up early to call in this godforsaken show. Tom Herman in a half hour from now, and guaranteed to be an awkward moment. Got to ask the question. Also, whose stats would you want? Have that for you coming up. And Reggie Aloysius Miller make his weekly pit stop as well. Your phone calls coming up as well. It's Seton, it's Paulie, it's McLovin, and yours truly, Dan Patrick Show.
Thanks for listening to Dan Patrick On Demand.
That is a noble gesture.
Now you can listen to DP and the guys 24/7 on danpatrick.com.
That's pretty impressive.
Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One, right after this.
When you don't go to geico.com, car insurance can seem intense. Like breakup R&B intense.
I thought you said you loved the sweater that I got you. If you didn't, you could have told me.
Geico makes it easy. Just go to geico.com anytime to update or check your policy without all the extra drama.
I even had a gift receipt.
AP Update. I'm Rita Foley. President-elect Donald Trump is tweeting that he's leaving his business empire to focus on being the nation's 45th president, bowing to pressure to avoid potential conflicts of interest between governing and profiting in the private sector. Trump tweeted this morning, "I will be leaving my great business in total in order to fully focus on running the country, in order to make America great again. While I am not mandated to do this under the law," he tweets, "I feel it is visually important as president to in no way have a conflict of interest with my various businesses." He said legal documents are being crafted which take him completely out of business operations. He adds that the presidency is a far more important task. The tweets this morning from President-elect Donald Trump. AP Update, I'm Rita Foley.